Okay, day one, two, three, part four. That plays well. So one of the great parts of journalism, even if you have a great journalist like Adrian Chen, or Shifa Gardi, or Serena Shim, or Vanessa Beasley, I got her name wrong in the last version, you still don't have the crowd. You don't have the crowd source. And literally within an hour of me doing this third version, there was somebody from Homa. I was pronouncing it wrong. It wasn't Huma, it was Homa. And they got married there and also worked on offshore oil platforms, which I thought was really interesting. They didn't know anything at all. This is a viewer of our channel. Didn't know anything about the Naval Air Station. Didn't know anything about the secreting of war supplies and after Cold War supplies for survivability of a nuclear incident. But I did confirm, hey, you grew up riding your motorcycle all along here. Were there a lot of oil refineries? Is that why Centreville is where it is? Because that's kind of like the blackest and deepest of the oil at the bottom of the mixing bin. And he confirmed, yes, it was all oil down here and so forth. And that makes sense that they would do the oil on land first, then go to the shallow parts, and then go out to the deep water last for cost of recovery. So that's nice when you could add great reporting, basically leveraging off Adrian Chen's great reporting, and then now have our crowd add to the story. Well, he was on this rig here. He was only 18, 14 days at a time. They'd fly back and forth. I believe he flew back from Venice here. He mentioned the name Venice. It's been a long time ago. This was 30 years ago. And this was actually called Cognac 156. And I thought, well, were they trying to, one up 151 rum with Cognac 156? Was this a Fat Leonard operation since it was deep water? Anyway, this was this Cognac 156 was the first deep water shell. Cognac 156 was the first deep water, and you can see from there on over the next 30 years they exploited this. This was taller than the Empire State Building. And if you look at his trip on his motorcycle here from Homa down this long straightaway, he said he got up to ridiculous speeds going out here. I believe he went to Venice, and then they took a helicopter out. But you could easily imagine in the days before this that, in the earlier days, that you would have had boats going back and forth when it was in this situation. There was a space between where people were going to these much shallower and exploiting these much shallower areas initially on this much larger shelf here before they actually went to the deep water later on. So is that really where the kind of the drug running came in with that, with all these shallow ports in about, I want to say, 12 miles off? It looks almost like 12 miles exactly if you look at it. And then, of course, these ports, Deepwater Horizon and the Cognac and so forth, are out here in the 40-mile region. So that's the follow-up. That's something that even great journalists don't have, is the open source follow-up in the same day to make an even better story, an even deeper understanding of, no pun intended, of the story you're reporting just a few hours before.